welcome to my weekly meltdowns coverage of Survivor. It's 44.
I couldn't hold it. I'm sorry.
Episode 4, where once again Allison calls who goes home in the chat of who looks the cleanest. The chick in the purple.
You did call that.
Listen, Doc, I have a whoopee cushion I bought for my grandson, and he will have none of it. So I'm randomly farting on the show. So, yeah. I can't do the oh yeah like they can. So
okay, time out. Allison, can you try to do the oh yeah? Because it is one of my favorite things.
No, because it's gonna be a sound bite, and y'all are never gonna leave me alone about it.
Who's recording? Hold on, let me get this ready to go.
This is not on the internet anywhere.
We have 5 viewers right now. We're like pretty much viral.
I also don't know where my phone is.
So you guys go, oh yeah. I was like, I'm pushing an angry turnout. Oh yeah.
My favorite is there's a video that Allison and I sent to Tyler on the day of a weightlifting competition he did. And and I go, oh yeah, like that. And then Allison goes, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm an amateur.
It was very cute. Yeah. It was very cute. Ay.
Before we go any further, we should probably say hello to the people in the chat we're traumatizing.
Yes. Hello to Matt Henning, Doc Chunk, Sam Higdon. We know your girl is gone. R.I.P. to Sarah. DM Rocks and Heather Jean. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. Oh my gosh, so we have a lot to unpack. Well, first of all, I need to catch you guys up to speed. Me and Nate had a great time nerding out last week, but I'm excited to be back with you two and talk some interesting talking points that we had last week that I wanted to ask you guys about. But I guess we can start with the big news that Sarah has been eliminated. How do we feel about that tribal council?
I mean, okay. It went exactly how I thought it was. And this is what I'm going to say. Carolyn was not acting. Jam was acting. And he didn't know that Carolyn wasn't acting. So but we could have seen that a mile away. The moment that they just decided to include the Soka tribe being like, Josh is our next target. And then it was all about Josh. I was like, Josh isn't going home. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I knew Josh was going to be the target from the beginning of the episode because it always seems to be the first person who has a diary, not a confessional, that's going to be a target of some kind. I'm like, oh, well, Josh is definitely going, or he's getting an idol, because he looked kind of clean in his confessionals, and then Matthew looked kind of clean in his confessionals, and then Sarah looked kind of clean in her confessionals, and Allison's brain was exploding of who, and I said Sarah looks pretty clean, but she was in my 3. But Felicia, oh God, I was sitting there wondering, why is this episode called I'm Felicia? Why do I think Carolyn is tied to it somehow?
Oh, you knew she also tweeted about it all week. She was like, I'm Felicia. You're Felicia. I'm Felicia. All week. That's what Carolyn. I was like, what is she doing? I love her. I'm obsessed with Carolyn.
I love it. This is my Carolyn impression.
This is my Carolyn impression. You ready?
And I love her.
Mine's more like a face smear like this, am I Felicia here? No, I'm obsessed. Any jest that we have here for Carolyn is all in good fun.
It's all in love. It is completely in love.
Is the most sincere form of flattery, and
unless I'm imitating Donald Trump, in which case it's not flattery.
Yes.
I love what did I call him accidentally in the chat? Yum Yum and Carolyn.
Yum.
Yeah. If those two, like I said in the Twitter post, I will lose my mind if either one of them goes home. I have been Carolyn on many occasions of when I don't know the other person is joking, and I'm like, are you like, and gotten in like a real argument when the person was joking.
Allison,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
we are very aware that that's.
I know you're
like,
aware.
There will be times where Tyler and I will just be talking about something. You're like, who do I need to kick ass with? And we're like, whoa, calm down.
Whose ass do I need to kick? I'm gonna roll today.
We love Mama Bear Allison, for sure. But you know what? I gotta ask you guys. I think the big topic, and hello to John P. Music in the chat. I think the big topic for this episode is this twist of the journey that Carson and Jamie and Josh end up going on, where they choose their path, but apparently the paths don't matter because they're not only going to have to swap tribes to a different tribe, they also all get a free immunity idol, which expires once everybody's living on the same beach, which tells me that once again, we are going to have a non-jury member like merge situation. I was talking with I'm like in this draft league with some RHAP people, and we were kind of doing a live episode chat. And we all kind of agreed with this, and I would love to hear your thoughts. But our thought was, boy, this is overpowered that they all get an idol and it lasts that long. In my opinion, I don't even hate the twist at all. What I hate about it is how long the idol lasts. It should have lasted this next tribal, regardless if you go or not. And then it's done.
I freaking hate it. And I'm going to tell you why. It's like it is the equivalent of a participation trophy. How many people before them have earned a freaking idol and done everything else? They get picked to go to the island and they get to switcheroo and get an idol. That's bullshit. They should have just gone to, excuse me, my French, but they should have just gone to the other.
I'm so offended by you saying bullshit.
I know you're offended. That's why I said. I mean,
my virgin fucking ears.
I mean, I'm still stuck on the freaking X-Men move by Carolyn.
Oh,
I'm like, dude, what is that? Because I'm like watching in the beginning. I'm like, that's not fake. They put something else in there. And then Carolyn's like, well, it was me. I did it. I was in the bushes and I got up to pee. I went. So, yeah. But I don't like it. I don't like that they gave them an idol.
Do you think, we didn't see this at all, but do you think that Carson then went to the other tribe and asked if they saw an X in their bird cage?
Possibly. I don't think that it matters, though.
Like, I don't think he did because he's convinced it's one of them.
I think that he would have. I think he would have asked, and I think he would have just to confirm his validation. You know what I mean? Like to validate himself as this wasn't production; it was somebody trying to mess with us, kind of thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the biggest issue I have is, well, first of all, I'm glad that it has an expiration date. Like at least it's balanced in some regard. Like I was really worried about just 3 idols just going into the game for like no reason whatsoever, and they can hold on to them until Sari gets put in the game and then gets advantage getting down at final 6 somehow again. Trauma. I think the issue, like Beth, you said, like they are free idols. Like that is what I have the issue with is, and Allison, you said that as well. Like they don't feel earned. Like they don't feel like a reward for something other than another tribe picking you to go on the same summit bullshit. And speaking of bullshit, I think this is a bullshit way to do a swap. Like we have been begging for since the new era has begun, we have been begging for like a proper swap in the pre-merge. And like even like Nate and I were talking last week about like, God, how unexpected would it be if they went from 3 tribes down to 2 for like a swap situation before the merge? I think
my favorite part about that, I'm sorry, Tyler, is that Allison took the time to type it, put it in the chat, and then highlight it on our video. Yes. Amazing. Continue. I'm sorry.
No. I just think like we need a proper swap. Like I really wish that we had that rather than just like one person switching to it.
I will not fully disagree with you, but I will offer the perspective of I think it would have been fierce to have everybody switch tribes and then nobody gets an idol and they just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
We've seen that happen just even in this season where of Australian Survivor, where Jerry gets voted out to go to the other tribe. They're aware that that's going to be the case, right?
Yep.
So it's not exactly the same thing, but if he survives, then he gets to come back to the original tribe, right? It would be fucking fierce if they said you were going to another tribe. If you survive the next tribal council, you will go back to your original tribe.
Yeah.
I mean, that is enough. That's enough information there, because I would love then to see if there is any chat at the immunity challenge like we were seeing in Australian Survivor, where they're all talking to each other before the merge and they're going and exchanging information. How fierce would it have been if Carson had run over to like Jam and Sarah and been like, so if I survive this next one, I come back. So be on the lookout that's going to be the same thing for Josh, right?
Yeah.
How amazing would that have been? Like, I think that there's just things they could have done here that relied more on the cast doing stuff to make drama rather than just like giving free advantages.
Fabrication. Yes, exactly. Like that's my issue is like, and also like this probably has to be a record for most idols found in a single episode of Survivor, and that is its own issue in itself. That like we have opened that
Pandora's box.
Well, received, I guess.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Given,
but it's too much. And I think we need to scale it back. I think we need to do a proper swap. Like I loved the scene of Matthew and Carson on the beach, like talking and like connecting for the first time. Yes. I'm like, wow, imagine how great that would be if we had all 14 or whatever people making those new connections with the proper swap, right? Like, why can't we get that? I don't understand. And I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's like a 26 episode or 26 day issue of like tribe swapping somehow. Like, I don't know if that has something to do with it, but like, man, we are hungry for like a proper swap. And I think this cast is good enough that they would have delivered on something really great with that.
I'm sorry, I hurt my shoulder 4 years ago and it just keeps bothering me. And I'm going to keep it in a sling, but I'm going to participate in the I'm gonna pull a giant, you know, slingshot with it and do swim. Yeah, I'm gonna do a bunch of crazy shit and then put it back in the sling. It's great.
Well, it's not that long since he dislocated his shoulder.
It feels like it.
Well, yeah, because it's been 4 weeks for us, but it's been 3 days for him.
I know. It's been 3 months, Matthew. I've seen you wipe your ass with that arm. Don't ask me how.
Why would you wipe your ass with your whole arm?
I don't
know. How did you get it? I'm not even gonna try.
Wait, hold on. I could get about here.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know why that's important.
It depends on what you're working with. Okay.
Right.
It just depends on what you're working with. Sometimes you need a bath after.
But we all agree
I would hope if you were wiping your ass with your arm, you would have a bath after.
Have the bath
Allison.
running. Have the bath running.
Oh my God.
Okay. Sorry, Tyler. We're doing it again.
No. You're good. You're good. But
remember
we
when
all
Tyler
agree
said
that like
he couldn't wait to be with the two of us again.
We could interrupt him constantly. Wasn't Nate a breath of fresh air last year? Last year. It's been that long.
It feels like last year. But no, like Matthew's gonna get medevaced. Like the writing's on the wall edit wise. Like even during the reward challenge when he like does the slingshot and then like Jeff makes a comment about his shoulder and then we get like a separate shot of Matthew like walking back down to his tribe like holding his shoulder. Like I feel like we're just getting all these like visual cues and reminders that he's injured. And like we saw the preview for next week that he's like crying about like his injury and stuff like that.
He looked really clean in his confessionals. It's like they sprayed oil in his hair when it was down and told him to whip it around and to make it look dirty.
So here's the thing. I love the theory of the clean confessional thing, but they do shoot those per episode. Like they don't like shoot them after the season's over kind of thing. Or
Come
like
on to these people.
I'm just putting that there. The other thing I will point out, and I put this in the chat of the group I was at, I was like, okay, can we talk about this? Carolyn's eyebrows are clearly filled in, and I don't know how you do that permanently without like tattooing.
eyebrows are filled in. You got a problem with filled in eyebrows?
No, but how are you doing it on the island, Allison?
I'm
clocking all the clean
She just reaches
people.
an arm up there, you know?
Yeah, and an arm and an ass. Yeah, listen, you can do that. Let me tell you something. If I'm going on Survivor, I'm getting waxed from the neck down with no hairs, and then I'm getting the eyebrows permanently put on, which I've had done twice.
Which
and
it
my
very
skin
well.
is so oily,
they probably
it's
are permanent.
This eyebrow has held it, and this one is half gone. When this sitting filled in, it's a freak show. Okay, but anyway, I'm not going on Survivor like that.
I just don't know. Done. It's got to be. It's y'all know I'm not like a beauty guru or anything.
Her
like that,
eyeliner is still on, Beth.
I don't think she has eyeliner on. I think she has extension eyelashes.
You think that's what it is?
They're very curled. I don't think it's mascara. I think she literally has extensions on her eyelashes that are very curled. So that's why I think she not only has the curled things, but she must have also have whatever it's called. It's not. That's not. What's it called when they make it a little bit more permanent with your eyebrows? Perm? No.
You perm your eyebrow? I mean,
do you perm your eyebrows?
I don't know. This is a whole other show.
Yeah, so I guess like we've already talked about like Josh switching over to the purple tribe and like where he falls. Also, like I've talked like so many times on here about like just stop lying about your profession. This is like the worst example of that tonight, right? Like Sarah like asked him right away, "Oh, so you're a surgeon, right?" And he's like, "No, I'm a personal trainer. I just like, in 2020, I just like really got into fitness, and I'm a personal trainer now. So you have to be really good with your hands to be a personal trainer." Like, come on. I'm not impressed with Josh's gameplay so far.
No, Josh has to be the worst game player on the season, bar none. Props to him for actually using an idol correctly, but microblading. Yes, thank you.
I've had that done twice, and it freaking hurts. It is permanent, but it hurts.
So yeah, she must have her eyebrows microbladed then. Okay, that makes much more sense. I was going to say laminated, but that's when they put your eyebrows up like this. So like when the hair sticks like up. But anyway, so one of my best friends, her partner has a friend who went to college with him, and I think he's kind of known for talking out of his ass, essentially. And I think that they probably were like, oh, good, let's get a doctor who's clearly not going to be able to play this game well. And he clearly just doesn't have the awareness factor, because he thought he was in a good position on the Green Tribe. And they were literally like, hi, two different alliances. Let's come together to make sure he's the one that goes next, when they easily could have fought over him to try to get the other pair out. So that just tells you just like how out of the loop he is socially, which is why I think it was amazing that he got chosen for this particular swap.
I think that he's just like very like very full of himself and very like proud of his profession. Like of course being like a surgeon in podiatry is like very, very impressive. But like remember
podiatry? Is that the feet?
Yes.
Isn't that what Tim is?
Yes, yeah, but he doesn't do surgery. But like so I remember it saying in the preseason, because I remember his like air about him like was very like he didn't just say he was a surgeon. He like used all of this like professional jargon to like sound really like smart, and like I don't know, like his nose is just like a little up in the air about like his accomplishments, and
apparently that's very much like what he is. He is very kind of pompous.
Yeah, he's a snob, Tyler. Would you say he's a snob about his profession?
He's a snob for sure.
I know someone else like that too.
Also, side note, him and Jam Jam next week, the gays are fighting.
Yes.
Well, what is it that Jam Jam said at the end of the episode? Bitch, what are you saying? Like, what did he say at the end of the episode?
Something like that.
He said, bitch, what are you saying? And I'm like, oh, yes.
But it was Carolyn first going like, these two, like that. And then it's like, bitch, what are you saying? And I was like, oh, the girls are going to be fighting.
Yeah. So I would assume that Carolyn like goes back with Jam Jam in the next vote and they just take out Josh, right? Like that has to be the move.
Maybe. I think that she was being very sincere about Jam Jam. And I don't think that she has more of a reason to be loyal to Josh now because she actually voted with him, right? And I don't think that she really felt like he was going to actually use the idol on her, but I think that the fact that he showed her the idol, that he did all that showed much more, hey, I want to work with you and not tell you what to do kind of thing. So I think that Jam Jam's going to have to make it up to her. I could see Josh absolutely going next. Absolutely. But I wouldn't say that it's clear cut that she's absolutely going back to Jam Jam.
And even if the gays like come together next vote, like she has an idol still, right? So
they're not going to come together against her. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to be fighting together against each other.
Do we think Matthew will be medevac next episode, or is this confirmed? I mean, do we even know?
It feels like such a medevac, like, and I think that he's getting so much attention around it because like I feel like Matt is, and of course like scandal aside, like remember how Michael Scoopin was revered in Survivor Australia, like the second season before he got medevaced? Like that's kind of like what it feels like here for Matthew in terms of like the edit. I know he's like, you know,
well, like, it feels like that, but like it honestly, he has exactly who the three people were who came back for Philippines who were medevac: Michael Scoopin, Russell Swan, and Jonathan Penner. All three of them were revered people who were making good social inroads, were leaders on their tribe that were doing all these really good things on the... You okay there?
Yes.
You got it? You good?
Yes, sorry.
What's going on? I just felt like, I think that there's going to be, oh, you're hanging it up. I thought you were going to go on a rant, and that's why I was like, already.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like, we're getting a lot of attention around it. But we're also getting like a lot of like sprinkles of like him being an actual like really good player. Like that conversation he had with Carson was great. Like he got Carson, so Carson told Matthew like all of the tribe dynamics for the purple tribe. Like they really did like a good like swap of information, and they were really honest with each other about like except for like the idols and stuff, but like of course. But I just I don't know. I guess we can talk about Carson. Like how do we feel with him like being in the orange tribe? Like do we think he made the right inroads? Like what do we think?
Well, I think that Matthew's a good inroad to make because that means that you're going to get aligned with Brandon. And if you can get in with Matthew's in with Brandon. Brandon clearly cares about loyalty. So if he feels like he's pulled in Carson, then even if Matthew does get medevaced, I think he's in a good position. I also think Carson won that immunity challenge for that team. Like he was putting together that puzzle. So I think that Brandon also really values strength. And I think that he's really smart. I think he's socially pretty savvy. And I think he's going to be fine. I'm more worried about Jamie. I think people are going to see her as a little too positive and overbearing to the point where they're like, she's either oblivious, which isn't a good thing to have in a partner, or she's fake. And that's what I think is going to be an issue for her. So I think if the green tribe goes to tribal, you've got these two pairs that are going, okay, Jamie's clearly next. What they don't know is that she has an idol. But they might figure that when they come back and they see that Josh didn't go.
Yeah. Well, I think that her, like, she has a fake idol as well, right? But she believes that it's real. And I think that that's really important here because she was so trigger happy to use her shot in the dark, like the very first moment she can. I think that she's going to think like the first time that the green tribe goes to tribal, she's going to say, I have two idols. It's okay to let one go. And she plays the real one. So she's safe in the first round that the green tribe goes to tribal. So I think that she's going to be safe the next round. I think that she's going to make it really far in this game. Like her confessionals, like I'm sorry I keep talking about like the edit, but like her her narration for herself is so positive and like very proud of her game and like every single step along the way. And I don't see other people talking about themselves that way in confessional as much. And I feel like we're getting like I feel like they're building Jamie to be this like bigger player in the season than she actually is, and I wonder why that is. Do you feel that way? I don't know.
I feel like they're showing her because yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say, Allison. That's exactly what I was going to say. She's she's going to be the pre-jury merge boot, hands down, which is, you know, still a few votes away. So that's that's fair. I think that that's actually a fair assessment, Tyler, of the Green Tribe, which makes me think that they would come together. I think that Jamie will join the Danny and Heidi side of that tribe and go against the couple. And I think that Matthew will be the first out of the couple. I mean, maybe Franny. Here's the one thing. If you were a young woman this season, you were getting voted out. We have 4 young women in a row. So maybe Franny is going to be the one out of the couple there.
That's true.
Which really sucks.
I didn't even realize that with like Sarah going home tonight. That's 4 in a row. Jeez.
Have any men been voted out?
Nope. It's only 4 young women.
But the men have been medevaced.
One man has been medevaced.
One man has been medevaced.
So it was Maddie in the first vote, young woman, right? And then the second vote, we had
Helen,
thank you. Young woman. Third vote last week was Claire, young woman. Fourth vote, Sarah, young woman.
Yeah.
So by the way, that Ponderosa is full of queens right now. That's a lit Ponderosa. The pre-trip, girl, I would have been like, yes, vote my ass off the island. Why would I do that when I could go on vacation with these bitches? Hell yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna get
Claire's probably very fun to go on Ponderosa with.
1,000%.
I'm loving the fake idols being planted from last week and this week. I am living for this. When Carolyn did it, I texted Tyler and I said, I love it when crazy people play Survivor. And I'm crazy too. So I'll be doing the same thing. I don't know if I put an X-Men X in there in the cage, but that's a good idea.
I do feel like
I love how it never came back up again. It never came back up.
When I'm watching Carolyn like be crazy on Survivor, I do think like this kind of is like what Allison would be like.
1,000%. Exactly what I think.
I would be falling fucking apart. I would be attached to someone like Jam Jam who would have to come constantly. Okay, look, you're gonna be the decoy again. I mean, it's just I would die. And listen, let me tell you something. That immunity challenge, I gotta tell. I couldn't grab that key bag. There's no freaking way. I would have. Who was the girl that didn't get the key? Jane. Who was it?
Lauren.
That would have been me face planting directly. I would have.
Girl, she belly flopped. No wonder she didn't go back for the key.
She got a slow-mo belly flop shot. We saw the whole ass thing.
It was like that. What was that TV show where they all had to do belly flops? Was it called Flop or something like that? The Big Flop.
I think so. Yeah.
That'd be like, you guys. Listen, guys. You gotta let me go first because I'm gonna bust my face and boobs and vagina and everything on this water, and then I'm gonna doggy paddle my ass and get over there. Then one y'all's gotta go twice. Just let me get the F out of the way.
I mean this in the nicest possible way, Allison. Your boobs are really not going to get out of
You know what? Thank you. I am the chairwoman of the Itty Bitty Titty Committee. I know it's not much of an impact, but I'm telling you, the vagina will be bruised.
I wouldn't be doing a belly flop as much as a tit flop. It'd be like...
I would hit the water face first and float back up like this. That's how I would get medevaced. I would knock myself the F out in the water.
Oh, girl. This is the one immunity challenge I think I would kill from beginning to end. I think I'd be so good at this challenge. I'm a strong swimmer. I have good balance. I can do a puzzle. You know, bring it. Let's
go swimming when I come back to New York, and you guys will get to experience the Allison doggy.
We're all gonna come up to my parents' house on the lake, and we'll go swimming there. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
Yeah, I like this. Actually, like this challenge is what fears me from auditioning for Survivor because I have a big fear of heights. So like that jump off into the water is very scary for me. Like I don't know if I would be able to do that.
Let me tell you something, when you're in the moment, I think like there have been things I've been terrified to do but when I got there and I had to do it and I really had no other choice, I just did it and you don't even think about it. And I think your adrenaline will kick in and you'll get up there and I pray to Jesus, you grab that bag and you fall in the water the right way. And I think you'll be okay. I don't know how you would be on the balance beam.
No, I would not be good at that either.
Are you a crawler? Are you a crawler like Jam Jam?
I probably would, yeah.
I would. Can I show you the way I'd go across the balance beam? Are you ready for this?
Oh boy, let's see it.
Ready.
A little like shimmy across.
Oh yeah, scoot your booty, do the booty dance across. Just scoot your booty, dude. I'd do that in a heartbeat. That's a good idea.
I support it.
On my feet, on the side of my feet, and then I want to make sure my ass is to Jeff and be like, Jeff, you like the show?
Jeff, I'm digging deep. I'm digging deep.
In my pants.
In my butt.
In my butt. Ew.
Jeff.
Oh God.
Beth's gonna shimmy across, picking up massive time for Soka. Speaking of Soka, I soak in my pants.
Beth shimmying her ass across the beam.
Doing a little twerk at the end. May cost her a few seconds, but it got her some style points.
Good Lord. Oh, God. Want to update our draft?
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. Let's see. To scroll past all this Yellow Jackets shit.
I just want to, while we're pulling up the draft, the Yellow Jackets season 1 recap with me and Rory is up a whole hour and 30 minutes where Allison's internet crashed in the middle of the show and Rory just had to keep on talking.
Oh, poor Rory.
That's funny.
But he handled it like I literally came back on and he was having a discussion with himself. It was hilarious. It was great. He's such a trooper.
Good for him. Okay. Good. Yeah, he is a trooper. All right. So, it had to happen at some point, but I did lose my first person with Sarah. Her boring mom energy. What?
I was just going to say, your team looks just so good.
Yeah, I got to say, Danny's really surprising me. I love it when little guys just flip around.
Yes. So let's talk about the draft, but I do want to circle back about Danny. I do want to talk about him for a second. So I lost my first person. But I'm feeling pretty good otherwise about my team.
Don't worry, I'll lose my third person next week.
And don't worry, I'm still gonna win.
Yeah.
It's fine.
You know
what? Honestly, I feel really good for Allison about Jam Jam, to be perfectly honest.
I just picked him the first time I saw him on the preview during the finale. That's all I did. I was like, that's my person right there.
And I feel good about my team for Carolyn. And then I feel good about Matthew, Danny, Carson for you. So I'm just saying, if I had to guess the top 5, that's the top 5 I would go with.
Yeah. I'm really feeling good about Franny's positioning too. I feel like we keep checking in with her about where her positioning is in the game. And I love that her and Matthew and Danny and Heidi. Also Heidi is playing a really great game too. The whole Green Tribe, I'm rooting for all of them big time.
They're a good tribe.
I think they're very, very good players and we're seeing very high level gameplay. What's that?
The one's meditating in the beginning.
Yep.
Yeah, they did a little meditation after Claire was eliminated. But no, Danny is really impressing me with how I feel like it's Tony energy, but with more strategic intention behind it. Right? I feel like the chaos level is similar to Tony vibes, but it doesn't irritate me like Tony irritates me. If that
I don't think he's really chaotic. I think Carolyn's way more chaotic than he is.
Well, yeah, of course. Carolyn's more chaotic than a freaking I don't know.
I mean,
tornado playing Survivor.
but even in terms of the gameplay itself, she's the one who created a whole idol hunt for for her tribe. The best part is, can we just time out? Side note here: the editors and producers are fucking shady to Sarah. She has no chance of getting back in this game. She's not on a jury. Why aren't you telling her before she does her whole last message that idol was fake? She spent her entire last message being like, it was a real bummer to go out with an idol in my pocket, knowing I could have stayed in the game even. Girl, you tell her in the moment, you put the camera down, you go, okay, so here's the thing. That was a fake idol. Why don't you put a real one that we could use for television that's not going to make you seem like a dumbass now? And go. Like, oh, man.
But she had every reason to believe it was true. And so this is the question that I was talking about last week with Nate, because Nate said that he thought it was unfair that you can't trust production at this point, because there's like a whole parchment that comes with the fake idol saying that it's real. And he thinks that that's crossing a line. Wait,
who said that? Sorry.
Nate did last week. And I tend to agree with that a little bit. Like if it's coming with like a piece of parchment that says this is a hidden immunity idol, you can play it at tribal council, like all of like the official rules and stuff. I think that's like a step too far. Like if it didn't come with that parchment and it was just like some janky like necklace or something like that.
I don't think it comes with the parchment.
It does. It does.
The parchment came with the 2 idols, but there wasn't a separate parchment for the fake idol.
I'm pretty sure it came with it, but I could be wrong. But either way, Sarah had it. So yeah, chat weigh in, please. And Henning brings up a good point. People have wrapped up fake idols with real notes before. Like
that's what I think it is. If anything, she used like that idol parchment somehow. Maybe she ripped off a part or something of it. I don't know, but yeah, people have been ripping off the fake idol information.
I'm not a historian or anything, so let me go back. And this isn't Thailand, but okay, so don't worry, Tyler. But let me ask you a question. When my memory
idols weren't around in Thailand.
That's right. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. But here's the most of the time, like in the era of the fake idols, most of the time they're just wrapping them up and putting them somewhere. They're not having any parchment with them. There's no paper. There's nothing with them. And that's what I like, because I got to agree, because I think it takes away from it. It gives you the option. It's like they're planting ideas into their heads to do the switcheroo thing, which is great. And I love it, but it's ruined from here on out. You realize that, right? Like there's going to be an anxiety level and it creates, and look, that's what it's about. That's what we're watching it for. But whatever happened to kind of just let nature take its course and just letting things unfold?
I'll tell you what happened. Jeff Probst had a more than midlife crisis and said, I'm going to be so tunnel visioned and not think of anything else. And this is the vision I have. So this is how we're going to play Survivor.
Dig deep. Hey, I have a question. I have a question.
Also, I didn't see Sarah have parchment. She had parchment?
She had, and so did Jamie.
Yeah.
For the fake idol that
Jamie did. I knew that one. I just don't remember Sarah opening up.
We'll get to your question, Allison, but like I think like maybe a rule that needs to be put in place is like maybe you need to pull a Danny and you are forced to eat the paper that it comes with or something. Like I just like, how are you supposed to know that it's or be clued in that it's fake in any type of way? You know what I mean? Like how is there an opportunity to outplay by knowing it's fake if you're getting a piece of parchment saying like that is like a legit from production saying this is a hidden immunity idol? I just like I feel weird about that. And if I were on the receiving end of that and going home like in like Sarah's type of fashion tonight, I would not feel good about that. I would say that was like my chance at $1 million, and it doesn't feel very fair. I don't know.
No, I 1,000% agree then. But it is weird that they would provide parchment. Like I think they must be manipulating.
I'll have to double check that.
Parchment. Yeah.
Okay.
They probably are ripping off a part or something like that. But regardless, I agree with you on that. I also think just generally speaking, like if you're going to do the 2 idol thing, you at the very least go back to what you did in like 39 halves of an idol or something. And you got to put them together. I don't I completely agree with you on this. I think the whole thing that they're trying to do for this season is see how many idols is too many and throw in the fake.
We've hit the limit. We've hit the quota, Beth.
We're in week 4. We've hit the limit. But I am interested to see if they stop and they say no more idols come merge. It may be worth it, but I also think like there's some really cool intricacies that I like with these different idols. I like that one fake idol is a real idol at another camp. I like that those different kinds of things. But there are things like this. If they do get a parchment with it, that's bullshit. If they if the other people have to do something with a parchment in order to make it look real, I'm a little better on that. However, that's still bullshit because if you get parchment, how are you supposed to know? It's not like you were able to really see what the other real parchment looks like, right? You have nothing to compare it to.
Like the spirit of that parchment is not that it's a prop. The spirit of it is that it is like an instruction or like you're receiving the award type of thing. If that makes any sense. Like I don't treat it the same as like a piece of jewelry or like I don't know, like string and like shells that you find on the beach or some shit,
right?
You know. But okay, Allison, hit us with your question.
And this is kind of going back to last week, and I'm sorry to bring it up, but I kind of had a moment of Claire going home because she sat out a bunch of challenges. How is that her fault if everybody's voting? I mean, was she nominating herself every time, or what was she doing? What did I miss?
She was nominating herself every time.
Okay,
to sit out
because you're not contributing.
What she was trying to say is she wasn't giving herself the chance to like put herself forward, right? So she was basically like, if nobody else wants to sit out, I'll sit out. And everybody was like, all right, I guess that's fine.
I didn't know. And this is another thing going back in the time machine. I didn't know that you could sit out multiple times. I thought every time it had to be someone different. When did it start that you could be the same person over and over again?
So you can't set out the same person for a reward and then the following immunity. Like if there's 2 challenges within like a round, if that makes any sense.
Allison, I had the same thoughts because remember I was chirping about this in what was it? All Winners when Sandra sat out like multiple times, and I was like, how is she sitting out for all of these immunity challenges? And people were like, well, because she didn't sit out for the reward challenge. And I'm like,
yeah.
Or she, whatever. I was like, that's ridiculous.
But
sorry, like, that's been plaguing me since last week. So
no, it's valid, Allison, because like I think the big issue here was how much Jeff made a stink about Claire sitting out, like how much of like a target that made her, and how much like physical strength is so much more important in these smaller tribes of 6. So with that being the case, and then Jeff magnifying that any chance that he can. Not even realizing that the single record holder for sit-outs in challenges is the first and superior 2-time winner of Survivor history. Like that is a winning strategy. So like I don't understand how Jeff has the audacity to like put a spotlight on that.
Because Jeff has never actually respected Sandra. He's always preferred the men over any woman who's ever played. I don't care. Right. Like he always will be the first person to try to magnify an issue on a woman unless it's a man who's actually doing something egregious, like it's somebody who's doing something that's like goes beyond the context of the game. Don't get me wrong, okay? I probably more than most people have more of a Jeff apologist, but these are things that like Jeff, please listen. And I know he will. These are things that he does listen to. Somebody he was talking about how a friend of his came to him and said, you know, when you made that whole big thing about changing the phrase from come on in, guys, to just come on in, and you posed it, he was like, you made it about yourself. And he was like, I didn't realize that I did that. And so I was able to listen and grow from that. So I really do think that he is somebody who tries and listens, those kind of things. But I wish that he would listen more when it comes to game, because I really think this could help from an executive producer standpoint and from his hosting abilities. Like I watched Jonathan on Survivor Australia, And he still makes fun little quips to the people who were playing, but he doesn't make fun little quips or question people in a way that's going to push people to want to vote in a particular manner. And I think that after 44 fucking seasons, Jeff has gotten to a point where he just can't remain impartial sometimes.
You know where he shines the most? You know where he shined? When he hosted Rock and Roll Jeopardy before Survivor. I used to watch Rock and Roll and let me tell you something. I'm like, you know that guy that won Jeopardy that was on a roll and had all that? That would be me on Rock and Roll Jeopardy. But I'm just saying, that's where he used to host Rock and Roll Jeopardy on VH1 and he was great on it. And that's why I was like, oh, the Rock and Roll Jeopardy dude is coming on over to this show. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And I don't want to say that he's not good as a host. I much prefer him than Julie. Like, he literally knows the game that he hosts and is an executive producer for. Right?
Start out Julie hosting Survivor because I ain't got no.
Oh, well, I was actually about to like give 1 point in Julie's favor because like as robotic and awkward as she is, and like she can keep the God 101 at home, but I think like in the moment when she's like talking to the house guest, she is very, very neutral. Like she does not give any type of like bias.
She doesn't have the same role that he does because she doesn't have to lead a council of talking about everything before every single vote. She only has to ask like 3 questions live.
Right.
And that are
pre-written
for her. Like, so it's not like he.
Yeah, the only time she does a council, Beth, is when it's the final episode with the jury and stuff. That's
correct.
The only time
and
she
remember,
has to control a group of people.
All of that is written ahead of time. She doesn't sit there for an hour and based off of the conversation, do other things. And she would never be able to do that because she doesn't watch the fucking show that she hosts. She doesn't have the interest in the game. She doesn't have like Jeff puts his heart and soul into this game and we see that. The problem is he puts his heart and soul into the game, so he has blinders on sometimes that makes him impartial. There's points in both ways, right?
Yeah.
And that's what, like, I think that we all, like, jokingly say, like, oh, I wish that Jeff would be replaced. And, like, some people are serious about it. I'm not as serious about it. I think he can change. But the only way he's going to change is if he actually starts listening to the fan base, the people who are, like, really trying hard. And I don't know, maybe now that he's releasing this podcast, and he's going to be getting more feedback from the podcast stuff.
How dare he get in our ring?
My favorite thing about that, though, was that Rob was able to put together. Rob has a podcast like ad that played at the end of the thing. It was so good. I'm so
I thought you were about to say that Rob has a podcast, has a show critiquing.
No, that podcast. No.
Can we do that? Can we listen to one episode of Jeff's podcast and just do a show about it?
That sounds like a patron show.
Let's do that. Let's do this coverage, and then some weekend let's listen to like all the Jeff podcasts, and we'll do like a patron only exclusive where we like critique.
Oh, that's a lot to ask.
Good
you know what? Every time y'all say that Julie doesn't watch the show that she covers, it reminds me of my son when he says to me, "Oh, Mom, you know what you should do? You should totally do a show about Yellow Jackets. Or you should totally do a show about Obi-Wan Kenobi show on Disney." Jacob,
like, bitch, I've
done that on my show. Oh, okay. Just saying. I mean, it's like he doesn't even pay freaking attention to what I'm doing.
But that's the thing, okay? Now imagine he was one of the 3 of us. Now imagine if it was Tyler and myself being like, Allison, you know what you should do? We should do a show about Survivor. And you're like, what the fuck you think we're doing right now? Like,
what are we doing right now, Beth?
You know?
What is this shit?
But in actuality, that would have been if we kept covering Big Brother Canada 11, because y'all know I would have been the only one watching the episode.
Yes. Oh my God.
I'm
not gonna lie, I did forget that was on.
Live
Fuck Big Brother Canada 11.
Live Patreon show. We listened to the first Jeff Probst episode blind. We don't listen to it ahead of time. The 3 of us live with our patrons. They give them the link. They can listen as we listen, and we commentate as we're listening.
I'm here for it.
I'm into it.
Let's do it.
Let's make it happen. Any other thoughts about this episode? It felt like a setup episode. Like I can't wait to see what happens. But like I don't think Sarah, I'm sure you're a wonderful person in real life. But like I think
we love everybody. Yeah,
I think I'll be okay.
And just to put it out there, it does mean that her like really OP advantage is out of the game as well now.
Yeah, that's true. The inheritance advantage is gone. Bummer to see like we didn't all of these like new things that they're trying, I feel like just are total flops, and not because of like the way they're designed, but just like
because there's too many things. There's too many things. Now imagine I was really hoping she was going to play that inheritance idol or inheritance advantage and her fake idol, and that Carolyn would play her idol and Josh would play his idol, and she'd get all these idols, and then she'd get voted out. And so like she actually didn't get anything. That would have been
that'd be cool. That would have been cool. Burn it all down on the way out. That's how I feel about it.
I'm living for the Jam Carolyn makeup session next week.
That's what I'd like to
see. Honey, I was joking with you. I didn't feel like you were.
That was actually really good.
That was really good.
I think
I love them so much.
Josh is next on the Purple Tribe. I think Kane is probably next on the Orange Tribe.
Radar. We didn't even talk about Kane. Belly flopping.
He's really struggling on the balance beam there. That's like the only attention he got in the show tonight.
And well, the Orange Tribe didn't get any attention, really. It was just about Carson going over, and then they didn't have anything. And then with the Green Tribe, I do think Jamie will save herself, and that it's going to be Franny or Matt. Matt.
I do want to say Carson needs to wear his hair back more often. I mean, he looks good the other way, but I really liked it slicked back. I'm just saying. The mother in me was like, why don't you just do that from now on? I just want to.
You are Carolyn.
Had a great face for both.
Carolyn said that to Carson.
1,000%.
I'm always trying to get my son's hair out of his face. Every time, get that out of your face. You have such a beautiful face. Mom, stop it. It's constant. Sorry.
All right. Well, if that wraps it up for us, we'll be back next week for Survivor 44, episode 5. We will not be covering Big Brother Canada here on My Weekly Meltdown because fuck that noise. And we're gonna get together a patron show soon. We'll be talking off air about like figuring a date for that podcast. And I know Beth, I was talking to you about like I want to do a Pokemon themed BS breakdown. Allison, of course, you're welcome to join, but I don't know how much you know about Pokemon.
I think it would be even better for her to join because she knows nothing about it. And like
my son, I bought the cards, I got the Pikachus. I got all that for Jacob. I don't know. I do know there was the game going on where you found stuff, and there was the
game.
The thing
one game. That one
game. Starting, like you got on your phone and you said,
Pokemon Go.
Oh, Pokemon Go.
There was one on Chris's father's grave in that area, and Chris was like,
"What Pokemon was it?
Check this out, huh?
Was it a ghost type Pokemon?
I think she means like a Pokemon stop.
Yeah, this was during COVID, I guess, or something, and we were laughing about it. But no, Allison is covering Yellow Jackets. Season 2, episode 1 early this week with Roy. I don't know exactly what day yet, but buckle up, kids. We got 2. I don't know if you guys saw our episodes all over the place because we're dealing with 2 timelines here. And there's just really no way to discuss 2 different timelines going on at the same time. Like we didn't figure out that before we did the show. So it's a lot of shit. But anyway, that's happening.
Very cool.
All right. Well, everybody have a great rest of your night. We'll see you guys next week and stay safe and we'll see you later.
Oh, bye. wait. But before I'm sorry. This is just because it is pertinent and I don't want to bring the show down, but I also think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about fuck Nick Wilson very quickly. I know we have a small platform, but we have a platform. And right now, the lives of trans people are being absolutely attacked. This is any legislation that is being passed in states like Kentucky, but across the board. I mean, right now, as of March 22nd, 2023, there are there are 8 states that have not introduced anti-trans legislation. And that's we're not even 3 full months into the year yet. This is a serious issue. And I really, really, really wish that everybody, if you don't agree with the legislation, that you are finding ways to support people. And if you do agree with the legislation, I really would ask you to please listen to the people who are being affected by these bills and try to at least respect them as humans. If you can't respect them as for their identity, remember they are a person just like you, and they have their own issues, they have their own identities, and they aren't trying to push legislation that is trying to actively lead to a world where it is okay to discriminate against you, to cause violence against you, and eventually literally call for genocide. That's what these bills are leading to. It's not a joke. And I really wish that everybody would do your research, support where you can. If you can protest, great. If you can donate to organizations that are going to go towards legal fees, great. Please stand up for trans people.
Absolutely. And listen, what they're doing isn't bothering you. It has nothing to do with you. You mind your business. They are minding their business. Trans people are not in your face getting in your business. You're getting in their business. You're making it your business. Mind your business. Stay in your lane. And I want to say something too. And I was joking about this in the chat, but I am kind of dead serious. I want everyone in the state of Tennessee on Halloween to dress in drag, to dress as an impersonator, as anything you can, because they can't arrest everybody. They can't. I live in the state of Tennessee. It's fucking ridiculous. And I think I told you guys earlier, there are a lot of people that are kind of testing the waters, you know, dressing the way they want and doing things they normally wouldn't do at noon on a Sunday in Target, because they have the right to. If a man wants to wear a fucking skirt and pearl earrings, who gives a shit? What is he doing to you? Nothing. He's not doing anything to you. Why is your business? Why has it got to be everybody's damn business?
Also, did it affect kids when they were watching, I don't know, Mrs. Doubtfire? Did that ruin kids' lives? When we're looking at all of these, we have literal shows and games that have kids using guns and learning how to kill people. We have actual people who are giving people and children guns and saying, this is how you shoot them. And listen, I'm all about safe gun control, and I'm all about being, you know, growing up and learning how to use a gun safely. What I'm not for is egregious violence being taught to children at a young age. And I would argue that violence is way worse than putting on a damn fucking dress.
Just mind your business. Just stop it. It's none of anybody's business what anybody else does.
It's very concerning. And people like Nick Wilson, who they like, what they love to do with their power in politics is gaslight everybody into thinking that like, no, they're misunderstanding the issue. You didn't read the whole bill, like that type of thing, to like justify away their behavior, right? As if like there is any reason to deny somebody the ability to just exist in a public space. Like that is all that it comes down to. And it is just so infuriating. It's disgusting. And people like Nick Wilson can go fuck themselves.
And remember that the drag laws, the anti-drag laws that are happening in Tennessee, yes, that's not a quote unquote, it's not about trans people. It's about trans people. What they're trying to do is control how you are expressing what your gender is.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to know what I hear? Do you want to know what I hear in the state of Tennessee? And I am not prejudiced. I want to be real. When I'm in the store, this is what I hear. And I hate these words, but this is what I'm hearing in the state of Tennessee. What are you talking about? I got to share the bathroom with some faggot who wants to wear a fucking dress. What the fuck is wrong with you? Dude, I was in New York City using the bathroom with men and women, and nobody gives a fuck. If I'm taking a shit or taking a piss, that's what I'm concentrating on. I'm not worried about a man or anybody else in there. It is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. And I apologize. I don't mean those words, but I'm being real. This is what's happening here. This is what I hear older people say this shit.
If your thought when you're going to the bathroom is, I wonder what the genitalia is of the person at the stall next to me, you're a fucking pervert, number one.
Right.
Number two, if your first thought when somebody comes out to you is, I wonder what kind of sex they're having, you're a fucking pervert. If you're talking about children who are coming out to you at the age of 15 and they're saying, Mom, I think I'm gay, and your first thought is to think of their sex life, you're a fucking pedophile.
Tyler,
period.
When you go to the bathroom, do you check out all the other men?
No.
Okay. See, that's what they think is going on here.
Right. It's like associating like homosexuality with like predatory behavior to like help like villainize a small minority group of people that are already have their backs against the wall in terms of like oppression and stuff. So it's not cool. It's punching down.
It's scapegoating. And what's happening is, if you were to look at even the most recent of history, if you want to look at the last time major genocide happened, you only have to look as far. Well, actually, maybe not the last time. There's been a lot of genocide, unfortunately, in the last century. But if you were to look at the Holocaust, the first thing that the Nazis did was burn down a facility that was doing trans research, because they wanted to learn more about the trans experience. One of the first things they did, besides putting gold stars on Jews, was put pink triangles on queer people and trans people. It's the first thing they did. And so when we see a rise in anti-Semitism at the same time as a rise of anti-trans and anti-LGBTQ and anti-drag legislation, that should be a fucking dog whistle for everybody out there.
But the people here aren't doing their research, because you know what their answer to that is? That Holocaust didn't happen. That ain't real.
God.
That's just something everybody's making up. There wasn't no black slaves. That didn't happen.
People really say that in Tennessee?
Yes, I am telling you.
And you know what?
Believe this at all, but this is what I hear.
I wish those same people would say that to their grandparents or grandfathers who fought in that fucking war.
Yep.
I dare them to go say, yeah, that war that you just fought and those concentration camps you helped free, they didn't exist. Dare you to say that to the greatest generation, if they're even still alive now. Guarantee you grew up with people who are still alive, who survived the Holocaust. Dare you to say that.
My grandfather would have been 100 years old this year, and he fought in World War II. He was a POW for 18 months. And I tell you what, that man, my grandma and my grandpa in Missouri, of all the were this didn't bother. I mean, they just kind of were like, my grandpa was like, I just wish people would mind their own business. Well, I don't care what everybody else is doing. I'm not in their bedroom. I'm not in their bathroom. This is a 98-year-old man that was saying it. He didn't care. He's like, what is that? What are we doing?
What is playing? Oh, I think it's my HomePod that sort of, hey Siri, pause.
Well, anyway, I'm just saying that there are people from the older generation that didn't think that way. And then there are people who are 10 years older than me, 40, 50 years older than me, that still choose to. Nobody does research anymore. Nobody knows what they're talking about. They just have one tunnel vision. They don't do the research. They're so stuck and conditioned into one way of thinking that you got to look around. Bob Dylan said it the best. The times, they are changing. You're either helping or get the fuck out of the way. That's all there is to it.
Language evolves. Identities evolve. Culture evolves. People evolve. Why should we revert back to a time when not everybody was equitable and equal in the eyes of the law? And the number one thing I will tell anybody, I don't care where you lie on the political spectrum. I think that what the most important thing is that we all have to do is do our own research. And I have to stress that if anybody, a Democrat, a Republican, a liberal, a conservative, a MAGA supporter, an anarchist, I don't give a shit. If anybody tells you that the issue is with somebody who identifies in a certain way, who in terms of like a man, woman, racial identity, disability identity, age identity, religion, all those different kinds of things, or if they're saying that these population of people need to be eliminated or need to be controlled, that should be a red flag for anybody. It's different than saying the people who act in a certain way. I will be the first one to say that my bias here is if you act in a certain way, aka you vote in a certain way, if you support things that limit other people's rights and abilities, that is different than an identity that you have. And I have every right to judge you based on that. But if somebody is telling me you need to hate someone because they are trans, you need to be wary of someone because they are black, you need to be afraid of somebody because they are gay. If you think of any of those things, and if somebody is telling you that, that is not a person to be trusted or listened to, because all they're out for is an agenda that is going to increase their power and limit the power of other people.
You know, I felt safer in New York City than I did in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm just going to be honest with you. Everybody in New York minds their own business. On the subway, everywhere. They don't give a shit. Everybody down here is in your business. Now, I will admit I'm in my neighbor's business because they piss me off. That's acceptable.
That's a little different. That's your neighbor. They kind of, my neighbors affect me.
You're not in their business because of who they are, though.
No, because it's been raining its ass off here in that fucking driveway. That water mud is leaking into my front yard now, and I have a problem with that. Okay, but I'm saying other than that,
that's an action that people are taking or not taking that affects you. That is not because of who they are as your neighbors. Yeah, because of their identity. So I'm so sorry that I then extended our podcast for like another 10 minutes to go on an angry rant. But
it's important. You're good.
It's important, and because we have a Survivor alum who not only took their winnings to run unopposed, to then vote for this egregiously despicable and inhumane legislation, but then you have people who are saying, "Well, how dare you? You liked him when he was on the show." And like, first of all, I never liked Nick Wilson, so like, don't tell me that I liked Nick Wilson.
He's forgettable. He was forgettable because I had to think about who he was at first.
Yeah, he's the guy who took the title.
Season I recapped here. Like I said, Angelina should have won that season. I have it on record here.
I'm fine with either Mike White or Angelina winning that season. I never thought Nick Wilson should have won.
God, I love Mike White. White Lotus.
So good. But anyway, thank you guys again for engaging in this conversation. It's important, and at the end of the day, nothing is more valuable in this country than your vote. And nothing is more valuable in this country than recognizing that we need to stand up, not just for our own self-interest, but for the self-interest of everyone around us. And so please, if you don't agree with something, listen to it and try to listen for those red flags. If somebody's telling you to hate someone based off of who they are, that's a red flag. If they're telling you to disagree with them and actively go against it because of actions that are being taken, you decide what's best for you in that situation. But please, let's band together and support people before this gets to a place that is truly even scarier than what it already is.
Yeah, I agree. And also, to add to that, fuck Big Brother Canada 11.
Hey, can I ask a question real quick? Just, because where are we on the draft? I mean, I know it's kind of,
but
I'm just kind of curious.
The first pick off the board from Stefan was John Michael. He was the first evicted, and
Amal
John Michael's
also
been.
left.
Yeah, Amal also self-evicted. We don't know why, but John Michael showed his whole ass online, not literally, but figuratively, when he said that we are the problem. We're the reason that the feeds are gone. So he can go fuck himself too.
Off.
I'm so angry about.
He said my weekly meltdown is the reason why.
He said my weekly meltdown. Thank God we got some publicity. I'll take it.
I would like him a little more if he mentioned our show.
I will
wear a
say,
t-shirt or something.
I will say my draft's not looking good right now because I just went to Jokers and Renee and Rob are both nominated with Zach won the veto and Dan's the HOH. So So I will be missing someone apparently, but I'm not watching, so I don't really know what's going on.
And also Hope keeps saying that he wants to self-evict, like he doesn't want to be there. So
and also apparently Zach is awful, which we knew.
How's your friend doing?
I guess he's fine. Daniel Clark.
Daniel.
I think he's okay. Yeah, he's still in the game.
Yeah.
All right. No!
Zach!
All right. Bye, guys. Bye.